Yeah, well, this is a survey of modern abattoirs in Nigeria, with particular reference to why they have all failed. 9 abattoirs were visited, modern abattoirs scattered all over geographical zones, representative geographical zones of the country. All 9 abattoirs visited, unfortunately, are not doing well at all. It's either they have never done business years after being opened, or for those who are doing business today, they are just a shadow of what they should be doing. You can see this is the Halal Abattoir in Kefi. It was built by Nasarawa state government in 2006. The consideration of the Nasarawa state government then was to build 3 abattoirs, modern abattoirs across the state, to service meat production, wholesome meat production for the people. So, Kefi, Lafia, and Akwanga were chosen. Out of all 3, this particular one in Lafia was earmarked for privatization in view, according to what government felt then, in view of its nearness to Abuja and the subsequent potential to do business with big retailers and hotels in the Federal Capital Territory. We're looking at the external structure of the facility, well mapped out with lots of space for possible expansion. It has a 250 kVA electricity or power generator to augment electricity from the national grid. Ample water supply with overhead tank that is said to be capable of holding about 80,000 liters of water. Inside the facility itself is state-of-the-art equipment, a 9 slaughter system with capability to do 150 cattle and 500 sheep and goat per day on a 9 system. This abattoir was Betty Ventures actually told and built by the government of Alhaji Adamu with an intention. He was the state governor then, or mandate, if you like, ironically, to clean up the place and start business. Alhaji Abdullahi, or Senator Abdullahi, if you like, after employing Mr. Fabende, had actually bought some equipment and installed. One of the things he installed is a 250 kVA generating plant, because the previous one had been stolen. However, this abattoir is still not doing business for the simple reason that the senator would like to employ an experienced expatriate, and he's still hunting for one. This is a fabulous facility. Everything is in place, from stoning and sticking right up to splitting. The facility is spot on. I had a personal meeting with the senator, and my main questions were rotating around why this sort of facility could remain idle in view of the investment by the government and he himself that has been expended. And the reasons he has given is that he seriously really wants to hire an expatriate to run the facility, and unfortunately, he's not been able to find one because of the fear of Boko Haram by such potential managers. The exchange rate for forex has not been helpful as well, as he says. And of course, the fact that he's a serving senator has made it difficult for him to find time to get things cracking. Apart from slaughtering, the facility is equipped with meat mincers and equipment for sausage making. The cold facility, the cold chain here is fantastic. The only problems being that they are not shelved. Actually, the senator brought in a South African who had agreed to come and manage the facility, but when the South African arrived, he wanted shelving in the cold store or cold facilities. He also wanted refrigerated vehicles for transporting meat. And according to the senator, unfortunately, money was not available to do that at the time. Here is the meat mincer. So, it did not work out. Asked for what would be required to get this facility kicking right away, Ade Jolaosho says that funding for refrigerated vans and getting him an experienced manager, particularly an expatriate, will be the best. And with that, he can kick off. Facility remains dormant and unused today. And here comes the almighty Bauchi Meat Processing Company Limited, the oldest of them all. This is an eyesore, and it's very unfortunate to have a situation that we have here in Bauchi. There you could see a rail truck. Infrared lines were constructed right up to the facility with the intention to transport meat from the Bauchi meat processing plant there to all parts of the country. And to this effect, the company had built cold rooms located in Ibadan train station, Lagos train station, Port Harcourt train station, and Enugu train station. These cold rooms are supposed to serve as reservoir to receive meat products from Bauchi, and from there they should get distributed. But unfortunately, this cold facility has not been used for the past 20 years. Facility was constructed, or rather, it was commissioned in 1968, and the company Bauchi Meat Product Company Limited was incorporated in 1964 by the government of Sir Ahmadu Bello of the Northern Region. It was being said, here we go. The intention now of the management is to go into chicken and fish and all that, since the beef sector is not doing well. As a matter of fact, this facility slaughters just about 1 cow per week, which they used to make dambunama, facility that was intended to slaughter 500 cattle a day for national supply, now operates at the lowest ebb with a meat shop at the gate, adjacent to the gate of the facility, being the only source of business. And what does the meat shop do? Just sell a bit of beef and dambunama. At various times, this facility has had various companies running it. But all has come to naught. Everest was a company that was jointly formed by Dutch, British, and I think Jamaican people, and some Jews were involved. It used to be known as ACC. ACC came into the business with the trade product called Everest corned beef, which became quite popular. But unfortunately, the arrangement collapsed because ACC claimed that there was too much government intervention. Actually, the Everest corned beef.
It's 2 o'clock.
Actually, the Everest corned beef was last seen in the market about 15 years ago. This is Dr. Al-Qasim, who is the present general manager and the first veterinary doctor to run the facility. He was appointed about 2 years ago, and to keep things going on the facility, that's if it is really going, which I don't think it is, but quoting him, to keep things going, he's been having to scavenge for business. Private slaughters, 1 cow there, 2 sheep there, here and there, and all that. And from time to time, slaughter 1 cow to produce dambunama, which unfortunately is not produced in large quantity, despite the fact that when dambunama was introduced with Bauchi Meat Company, it became quite popular. It was introduced into the market in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, where it was well received. But unfortunately, there has not been funds to continue with production in real commercial quantity. These are equipment. This is a bone crusher, which is capable of separating bone from its marrow. The marrow goes to pharmaceutical companies for cosmetic manufacture, while the bones go into the dry bone goes into the animal feed chain. We're talking of intentions, because these things don't happen anymore, although the equipment are all there. I must say that from time to time the equipment gets vandalized, and Bauchi state government has not been showing any commitment to revalidate or revitalize or reposition this project. It is in fact said that at the time it was formed, there were 2 of its type in Africa. One in Botswana, run by the white people who were there then as the government of Botswana, and this one, which Sir Ahmadu Bello thought would become an edifice. That's the Everest corned beef that was being produced years back in this facility. That's not happening anymore. Conclusively, the Bauchi Meat Product Company is a total failure. It is not doing anything. It has 4 veterinary doctors employed there that are being paid from the government post and auxiliary staff who are managing to survive from the bits and pieces it is doing. Here again, you can say this is the cooker. This is equipment for making corned beef. All out of use. Dr. Al-Qasim, the general manager, as he is of the opinion that this facility can be revitalized and made to run, but lots of money. He thinks about 500 million will be good enough to get it running again. He has good plans if funds and technical assistance can be made available. But as of today, Bauchi Meat Products Company is in a state of disuse, and looks like a very unfortunate situation. It's Bauchi Meat Product Company. Here is the meat shop where they now sell bits and pieces instead of supplying the whole country and probably even exporting. And here is the central abattoir in Akinyele, Ibadan. This is a project that was just completed last year, 2014. This project was built by a private company called C&E Limited, and they have spent 3.8 billion naira on this edifice. If it is allowed to run, there is no doubt that it will be a state-of-the-art exemplary facility and one of its kind, probably in the whole of Africa. C&E went into what you could call some forest area of Ibadan, cleared the place, constructed roads, light, water supply, market, bank, police post, and all sorts. All intended to be part of an exquisite abattoir that is all-encompassing and self-reliant. The government of Oyo State had signed an arrangement with them with that C&E to build this facility, and once it is done, all butchers in 11 local governments of Oyo State will be told or forced to go and slaughter in this facility. It is supposed to take over from Bodija Abattoir, which is an eyesore. However, despite the completion of this facility, the government of Oyo State has not carried out its own terms of enforcing movement to this facility. So What is happening here is that the facility is idle. On the 18th of December, on the 18th of September, government had asked C&E to quickly prepare the place for launching. And this was done in December 2014 by the state governor at a fun fair, only for, as I'm told, butchers to put pressure on the governor that the facility must not be open. And they seem to be having their way. In the interim, C&E, which took some loan to actualize the project from the banks, are in a state of despair. Because for every day that the facility remains dormant, there is massive loss of revenue. What help does this facility need to run? Architect Toyinbo, who you could see in the white shirt there, is one of the directors, technical director actually. In his own opinion, the company does not need financial or technical aid. All it needs is political intervention to get the governor and government of Oyo State to please honor their pledge that is clearly written in white and black. Black and white. Quite an unfortunate situation. So, the Central Abattoir Ibadan is another dead project that is not happening as it is now. Fledgling facility. That's the police post there in the background. And up on the screen there, you could see that the facility itself is not far from the main road, an expressway, which should have all been an advantage. The stores that were built to serve as stores and to serve as an incentive to the butchers union, C&E built this facility and gave it to the union to allocate to their members. And this has been done. But the same members are putting pressure on government. Their reason being that it is too far from Ibadan town and that it is too sophisticated. Enforcement by government, movement enforcement by government though, obviously, will sort the problem. But then, politics. Is preventing that from happening. Architect Toyinbo, who you could see in the picture in the white shirt there, and the technical director of the project, is of the opinion that the government could help by enforcing the movement that was promised, indoctrinating and training the butchers to appreciate the value of a modern abattoir of this type. He's also suggesting that loan from the World Bank to assist in funding of work. Yeah, well, you could see, since not much is happening, people are gradually doing the normal traditional things that you find in dirty abattoirs on the facility. Architect Tonybo is also of the opinion that advertising the advantages of buying processed meat on radio and television would be helpful. He's also talking of assisting abattoirs to survive difficult times by providing soft loan. He's of the opinion that the training for butchers and management staff would be helpful, as earlier mentioned. He goes further to mention that the formation of regulatory bodies and some sort of meat regulatory commission or parastatal that will deal directly and that will center on dealing with meat related issues will be better than the situation as it is now, where the vet department in the ministry seem to be toothless and cannot do much. Facility is armed with two wings, one for mechanical slaughter and the other one for what they call traditional slaughter, where people do the normal traditional slaughtering on the floor. And it is the hope of the C&E management that they will provide cradles and hoists and railings, overhead railings, to improve on the traditional wing. Here in the mechanical division or mechanized division, they have also provided facilities by the side of the slaughter hall where people could, do some processing, sausage, corned beef, tripe processing by coring and all that. After all said and done, this is a facility that has also, as at now, that is showing clear signs of failure or realization of goals, which is unfortunate. Be unreliable. This is a situation of serious public health concern. It's actually a disgrace of one form or the other. So, initially a modern abattoir, now a total disgrace. Talking to Dr. Baba, who is the vet in charge of Zaria Abattoir, in his own opinion, this Zaria Modern Abattoir must and should be closed and relocated. Eximab Integrated Link Limited are the present owners of Chalawa. Chalawa Abattoir is a situation where you are reminded about how the mighty have fallen. From Commissioner of Police Ade Jolaosho was the governor of Kano State when this facility was built. He started by importing meat from Argentina once weekly, and people will gather with all sorts of enthusiasm to buy this frozen meat flown in from Argentina, and it became a trademark. Everybody was happy. So he sits down and thinks, oh, okay, why don't we do this thing here instead of why don't we slaughter this animal here and refrigerate them and produce the same type of value that comes from Argentina? And so in 1975, we initiated the project and brought in some Hungarians. And by 1983, the project had been completed. Chalawa, the capacity to slaughter 500 to 1,000 cattle per day, line system, explicit refrigeration system, supply of electricity, collateral, and from the national grid, everything in place, professionally designed lireage or lirages, and what have you. Today, Chalawa remains a fallen project. New Conqueso, the two-time governor of Kano State, is said to have taken a passion to revamp and rejuvenate this facility. But that is one example where butcher power. Butchers were said to have given Rabiu Conqueso, some support at his first coming. And he had to agree with them that he wouldn't open Chalawa. But then when he became governor, he called them and asked them why or what he could do for them to move. And they told him, well, if you could make it possible for us to do traditional slaughtering within the premises, that would be fine. So what did he do? He constructed slabs within the facility. He also constructed or developed a structure there where they could do their normal offal handling, which they have raised within, and so on and so forth. But despite his effort and after spending much money to put those things in place, did the butchers move? No, they didn't. So it was considered that, oh, well, let's do contract slaughtering. A private company, Eximab Integrated Link Limited, during the time of Shekarau as the governor, were contracted to run the facility, and they had promised that they will revamp the whole structure. And this was against the background that they had arranged a contract with Lagos State government to supply meat. But did that work? The answer is no. A businessman from Saudi Arabia was said to have also moved into the facility on a contract to run it for meat export. Again, that lots of the equipment and paraphernalia are still within the site. Well, unfortunately, either roasted or look unserviceable. I think it qualifies to be placed in the Museum of Monumental Waste. Quite sorry for the quality of some of these pictures. Like I mentioned, this is an amateur video taken by me. I'm not near being a professional whatsoever, but I'm just hopeful that we are able to catch the body language of what we're talking about. Oh, the modern abattoir in Nina. This one looks like a twin brother of the one in Zaria. It was commissioned on the 24th of January 1990 by the then governor of Niger State, Lieutenant Colonel Lawan Gwadabe, who had who had initiated and quickly constructed this abattoir with the hope that it would serve as a point of slaughter for animals that would take care of the need of the whole of Mina metropolis. Yeah, and the way it was then, you could see where it was coming from because it's a line system, 150 again, Karu. But this particular modern abattoir did operate for about 5 years and gradually was losing quality as it went. As of today, it is an eyesore and should be United States government should consider closing it up. Okwaba, this is Okwaba mechanized abattoir in Agege, Lagos. Probably the biggest of them all with the capability. It has two wings in two buildings, each capable of doing 500 cattle per day. It was built by Germans and this was in the time of Latif Jakande as the governor. Laudable project by all standards, but today and always a totally underutilized, or rather, yeah, well, underutilized because as at now, we are being told that about 20 cattle get slaughtered here per month, usually by individuals who supply um, told master meat, eventually getting to ShopRite and so on. So we're talking of 500 cattle a day utility capacity utilization falling to 20 per month. It has it all, line system, offal processing, everything. This is one of the things that are happening here is that this particular refrigerated container is used by some South Africans to process offal. Well, uh, tribes for export, we are told. Sorry, by Chinese people who export. The Chinese company that exports processed tribe to South Africa, we're told. But there's no record to even show the activities of this Chinese company. Um, it's all degenerated, in and out of strength, apart from Dr. Idris, who is the vet in charge of the whole abattoir. Well, there's an adjacent structure to this mechanized or modern abattoir, which is the slaughter slab at Ukwoba, where people do their slaughter on the floor. That particular section handles about 1,000 cattle for slaughter per day, while this mechanized one, like I said, 20 per month. And the mechanized one here has a staff strength of 6. So these 6 people are the ones that handle the meager slaughter that goes on the facility. You can see it all there, as mechanized as it can be. To get this facility to run at full capacity as it initially conceived, there will be the need to close the slaughter slab near it, and government and force people to move here. But then, there are thousands of people working on the slab. How do you accommodate them in this facility that will only need a few people? And are they trained to be part of it anyway? The answer is no. It's also revealed that massive indoctrination of all state butchers via radio and television jingles especially can help. It's talking of provision